Yo, and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector, and this week's just moving on. So the other day, I'm going to tell you all the inspiration for this video. I was watching a documentary on, I think it was MLB Network, called Long Gone Summer. And I don't think it's brand new, because parts of it, I think I've seen it before recently. And I got captivated by it again. And it was about the summer of 1998. And it brought me back to that time in baseball history that was so amazing. Anybody that was a baseball fan then knew what was going on in the summer of 98. The home run chase, Mcguire, Sosa, and just how amazing that was. Even the casual person would ask, "Hey, did he hit one today? Who hit one today?" And everybody knew what they were talking about. It was a time in baseball that I don't know that there's been that much excitement around the game. And it brought me back to all that, and it helped me remember things and moments of that summer. It's ironic because later that summer, August 21st to be exact, I met Julie, my wife. That was, 24 years ago almost. And I was a younger guy, at that point I was 24 years old. I'm 48 now, so 24 years ago I would have been 24. And so I was a relatively young adult baseball fan, baseball fanatic, not just fan, not the shortened version, but the elongated version of the word fanatic. Still love the game. And during that era, that entire era, there were some amazing baseball feats being done. Ultimately, you had, Sosa and Mcguire, and then Bonds did the stuff that he did on the field. And then the entire era seems to get just thrown in the garbage because of steroids and the cloud of suspicion, accusation, and reality of it. I'm not even saying it didn't happen. I'm sure it did. But as I think back to that period of history in baseball, I am completely unwilling and think it is absolutely ludicrous to just toss away all of it. To just say, none of that matters, none of it counts, it's all tainted. I think that is such a narrow-minded view of the times. You could easily say that the culpability for what happened in baseball lies with both the owners and the players, okay? All of which knew what was going on, all of which turned a blind eye to the situation. As it was brought to light and more people came out, like Canseco and others, admitting, yes, we did that. Yes, we did it to other people. The Mitchell report, all of those things. I lived through all of that, as many of you did too. And it never, although I was disappointed in it, I mean, do I think it was cheating? Yeah. I mean, was it illegal? No. Was it against baseball rules? Yes. Did anybody really enforce it? No. Was there any testing programs? No. So it's this fine line. Do you condone, people ask me all the time, so that means you condone cheating. And that's not necessarily true. I just witnessed some amazing things that were unbelievable. And the fact that I'm going to talk about 12 players tonight. I'm going to call them the Dirty Dozen. 12 players that I think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Steroids or not. And I think it's because I just say, look, there's an era here of baseball history that can't be ignored, that's unfair to ignore. Now, I believe you still look at the era and you go, who were the greatest players of that era, enhanced or not? You can still distinguish. Now, you would say maybe if you're against this idea that, well, you're comparing enhanced players versus unenhanced players. And I make the argument, although some people don't think it holds any water, I make the argument, how do we know who did and didn't use? Whether a brief time or large parts of their career or whatever, we don't know, we'll never know. And so I look at what these players did for the game. Obviously, their statistics are impressive, although tainted, no doubt. But you still look at what they did and you can go, okay, for that era, were they really great for that era, right? And that's where I kind of land on this. Again, I'm unwilling just to cast aside 15 to 20 years of baseball history and pretend like it didn't happen, like it was just a bad dream. It was an amazing period of baseball, actually. Performance-wise, we saw things that had never been done and haven't been done since. So I enjoyed living through that time. I enjoyed being a baseball fan during that era. And for someone to say to me, well, forget all of that, it's a bunch of hogwash, I say, sorry, I'm unwilling to do that. So many people have so many different opinions on this, no matter which side of the fence you're on with that. I think you can say these were great players. I think no matter what, I think you can say, man, they were really great players. Did they do it on the juice or not, right? Some for sure we know, or highly speculated. Some still don't know. Maybe, probably, whatever. I hope you can look at this list of what I call the Dirty Dozen and go with an open mind and say, yep, they were great players. And maybe you can see the point and understand the logic of not wanting to just dismiss the entire era of the steroid era. So I'm going to go through some things. A lot of these you've heard before, but I think it's a really good reminder. As I was researching on these players that I chose, I was again awestruck at their accomplishments, awestruck at where they stand in the annals of baseball history. And it doesn't mean do you hold it against dead ball era pitchers or players because of the era they lived in and played in and it's like holding it against other players because pitchers could use the spitball, which is now illegal, or heightened mounds during periods of time and lower batting averages of today. You got to look at, I think, each era so independently that you can judge that era in a vacuum and go, okay, let's just look at this. Who were the greats? Hall of Fame worthy. Well, there's an ethical component to, a character component to the Hall of Fame. And I get that. Cheating, not great. Not a fan. Don't condone it. But at the same time, we have a lot of players in the Hall of Fame that have done some pretty bad things that would fail the ethical component. The moral police would be on their butt today, given our climate that we have today. There are racists and bigots and wife beaters and all kinds, what are you going to do? Domestic abusers, I guess I should use the proper, maybe politically correct term. And I'm a big believer in just judging a player by what they do on the field. I would get rid of the morality clause, the whatever I can't remember what they call it, the character clause. That's what it is, character. I would just get rid of that. It should just be about player performance, but that's not the rules. But if I could make the rules, this is what I'm telling you. These are the players I would put in. These are the players. This is how I would consider it and why I would consider it. So let me just go through some of these players, show you some of the cards I have. Because again, I loved that era. I have fond memories of that era. And so I collect a lot of stuff from that era. And hopefully someday these players will get into the Hall of Fame. but I don't have a vote. And a lot of you are saying, man, I'm glad he doesn't have a vote because I completely disagree with him, and that's okay. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on all of it. You're entitled to your opinion. So let's get to some cards. I'll show you what I got. All right, so here we go. Gonna, look at this dirty dozen of the steroid era and guys that I think from that era were just kind of the best players of that era, and talking through some of their stats, showing you some of their cards. I love to collect them. Will they get in the Hall of Fame someday? Who knows, but I still just love to get their stuff. I think they're great. First up, and this is going to be in alphabetical order, and it's ironic because this is the one I think is most deserving, and that's Barry Bonds. 7-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glover, 762 home runs. So many people say he's not the all-time home run king. Hank Aaron is still, but I look at the Baseball Reference and it shows Barry Bonds is number one. That's just all I know. 2,935 hits, so almost 3,000 hits, a 298 career average. And his career WAR was 162.8. That is absolutely ridiculous. So there's a 96 Topps Bonds signed. There is his rookie card. I try to get all of these, if they get in the Hall of Fame someday, I already want to have it. I have his Fleer rookie too for Bonds, but there's his Topps traded and then an autograph. So you'll see that there are two players I don't have anything of, ironically. And this video, actually, researching all this made me realize, hey, I need to get something. Number 2, both alphabetically and I think deservedly, is Roger Clemens. I love 92 Fleer Ultra. 7-time Cy Young winner for Clemens. He won an MVP award as a pitcher, was an All-Star 11 times, 354 wins, 3.12 career ERA, 4,672 strikeouts. That's third all-time. And his career WAR was 139.2. I'm not going to give the career WAR for everyone, but just the guys that go, what? So there's this autograph. And then I have this 84 Fleer update and just a 7, but that's not a cheap card. I have all of his 85 cards, Donruss Fleer, Topps. But this is kind of his rookie to me. 84 Fleer update. So there's Mr. Clemens. Next up is a guy that I collected as a kid, major PC of him. I had almost 5,000 different cards of this player, and I sold them all to another super collector at one time when I was switching over to Josh Hamilton. I have a really bad run of being a player collector, but I did keep a couple of cards, ironically. I kept all my slabs of this guy because the other guy didn't want them, which was fine. And I kept a few autographs, including this one, Juan Gonzalez. This 98 Signature Series is one of my favorite all-time sets of autograph sets. There's green ones, blue ones, red ones, and then there's yellow ones. And these were the previews. You can see it says preview right there. And these were super hard to get, even in the day. They're not numbered on the back, but they are so cool. It's the same image used on all the different colors that they have, but Gonzalez won 2 MVPs, 3-time All-Star, won 2 home run titles, 434 career homers, 1,404 RBIs, 295 average. Gonzalez was just one of those guys, similar to another guy later in the list, who was just a beast in the 90s. And, did Gonzalez, according to Jose Canseco, Gonzalez used steroids. I don't know. Amazing. I have all of his rookies slabbed. And this is the 90 Topps Tiffany. I thought I'd show a Tiffany card just because all of his 90 cards are great. But I like his 90 Upper Deck a lot too. But this one just is cool because it's the Tiffany. See the bright back for the Tiffany. But yeah, I don't have a ton of Tiffany cards in my collection, but I do have Juan Gonzalez. So there's Juan Gonzalez, number 3. Next up, alphabetically, this guy right here, Jeff Kent. One of the ugliest signatures, I think, in all of baseball is Jeff Kent. But Kent, who played on Astros, a lot of great Giants teams. Batted behind Barry Bonds, actually, provided him protection as a second baseman. He won an MVP, 5-time All-Star, 290 career average, 377 home runs, most for a second baseman, 1,518 RBIs. I mean, you could make an argument he could be a Hall of Famer in no matter what position he played, but the fact that he was a second baseman and he put up those kinds of offensive numbers, very, very impressive. And there's his rookie card. 92 Fleer update. A PSA 9. So yeah. Jeff Kent. Next up. All right. Again, I told you guys the inspiration for this video was the Long Gone Summer documentary. Mark Mcguire. Those of us that watched Mcguire, just how can you not say he wasn't amazing in what he did and bringing excitement to baseball and all that. He won the home run title 4 times. He was an All-Star 12 times. 583 homers, 1,414 RBIs. He hit a home run every 10.6 at bats. That's the most all time by a lot. Second is Babe Ruth, but Mcguire, every 10 times he came to the plate, he knocked one out of the park, or had an at bat, not a plate appearance. But there's his rookie card, Mark Mcguire, 85 Topps, of course, the great Topps 85-401. There's people that don't know where Nate's name comes from. That's it. Topps 85-401. So that's his channel name for this card. Love it. I've had this one forever. In fact, I think I graded this myself a long time ago. So this 87 Topps I actually got signed myself in 1987. I met Mcguire at a show and had him sign that card. So, yeah, love it. Mcguire for sure. Continuing on, next up, another. It's funny how many former Rangers are in this, but Rafael Palmeiro, are you kidding me? All-Star 4 times, but that's not surprising. As great as he was, he played in the American League most of his career, shown here with the Cubs starting off, but he, Mattingly and Mcguire and all, there were so many guys. There was a logjam at first base in the American League back then. Hard to get an all-star nod. 3,020 hits, 569 home runs. Only 2 guys with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs are not in the Hall of Fame. They're both on this list. 1,835 RBIs in his career. I mean, Palmeiro was such a sweet swing. I watched him for 10 years play for the Rangers, and he was amazing. I saw his 500th homer live, not in person, but on television. Hey, look, I have I have a signed version of his rookie card and a Gem Mint 10 version of his rookie card. So those look really cool together. Palmeiro. Amazing career. Next up, got to turn the page over. Getting in the second half of these. This guy. Manny Ramirez. Probably of all of these, the most egregious abuser of performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, I don't know how many times he was actually suspended, but several. And but denying his greatness as a baseball player seems unfair. He was an amazing hitter, hit for average, hit for power, all of it. 12-time All-Star, 555 home runs, 1,831 RBIs, a .312 batting average for his career. This is the only autograph I have of his. And then I have, of course, his awesome, look at that shirt. I might have had that shirt. 1992 Bowman, Manny Ramirez. It's funny, when was he born? I was probably around the same age. Yeah, he was born in May of 72. I was born in October 73, so yeah. Pretty awesome. Here's the Man Ram. Definitely on this list of the Dirty Dozen. Another former Ranger. former Yankee. You know who it is, A-Rod. A-Rod actually has a pretty good shot of, I think, getting in eventually. I don't know if he'll get in by the writers, but we'll see. I mean, if Bonds and Clemens eventually get in, I think the floodgates are going to open for these guys. But A-Rod has done a lot to repair his reputation by being a commentator. He's actually pretty good, in my opinion. I think he's actually brings a lot of knowledge to the game when he does commentary. This is a cool Upper Deck signed game jersey. I only buy A-Rod autographs with him on the Rangers. One, they're way cheaper than Yankees versions. And two, I'm a Rangers fan, so that just makes sense. Although his years with the Rangers were pretty tumultuous. He signed that huge contract back in the day. 3-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 295 average, 696 homers. He's the other guy because he has 3,115 hits. So him and Palmeiro are the two guys. 2,086 RBIs in his career. That's a lot. There, of course, is his very famous 94 SP rookie card. And you're mint 8. I've had this forever. You can see by the old flip. Like, it's one of those cards that I've just always had. It's in the 300 Great Cards by Mike Payne. So, yeah. There's A-Rod. Next up, I just remember this guy being a beast and his amazing, his stance, his bat waggle when he would be at the plate and intimidating pitchers. Gary Sheffield, one of those guys that just could bomb, man. 9-time All-Star, 509 homers, 1,676 RBIs, 292 career average. Played with a lot of different teams, won several rings. I think he won a ring with the Yankees, at least one. But he was kind of all over the place. Milwaukee and San Diego and the Dodgers, Yankees. Like, he played, I think, almost for every team. Joking, but Gary Sheffield. And here's his 89 Upper Deck rookie. So many great rookies in this set. This is the regular version, not the... There's an error version where that SS is upside down, which is funny because if I turn it upside down, I don't know how you can tell. it's the same SS upside down. But there's the Sheffield rookie card from 89 Upper Deck. And yeah, so Gary, he's still on the ballot. He won't get in that way, fortunately. This guy's still on the ballot too. The other half of the 98 Long Gone Summer, Sammy Sosa, of course. There's so many people that don't think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, even without steroids. And I don't know how anyone can really say that and make a logical argument for it. Won an MVP, 7-time All-Star, 609 homers, 1,667 RBIs. He's got, I think it was 3 60 home run season, maybe 4. Can't remember exactly, but this great 96 Leaf signature extended series, Sammy Sosa. Put this right here. And then got his 90 Leaf rookie card. Should probably move that over so you can see both. 90 Leaf. Great set. Frank Thomas rookie in there. And just a cool looking set. Larry Walker's rookie's in there. So I'm going to put that here because the last two guys I don't have anything of, so I'm just going to leave those cards up and talk about them. This next guy, Albert Don't Call Me Joey Bell. What a beast of a hitter for the 90s with the Indians. He was a monster. And, I mean, not only were steroids part of the issue, but I mean, he used a corked bat. I remember him getting thrown out of a game for that and suspended and all that stuff. I mean, he cheated in multiple ways, but the man could hit. 5-time All-Star, 381 homers, 1,239 RBIs, 295 average. And you say, well, those homers and RBIs sound low. He did it in 12 years. 12 years, 1,239 RBIs. I mean, he raked. He just raked, and he was so good. And I remember again, vivid memories of these guys that were just so much better than the average guy. Again, was that enhanced? Likely, but they were still so good. You still had to hit the ball, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, being on roids, you still have to hit. The last guy is a pitcher that I would say is lowest on my list of the Dirty Dozen in terms of who I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think this guy was a product of the team that he played on. Not that he wasn't a great pitcher, but Andy Pettit, 256 wins, 3-time All-Star. He had a .626 winning percentage, which is incredibly impressive. But 2,400, I think, ish strikeouts in his career. Not a huge number. Never really wowed you. Never won a Cy Young. Very steady and all that. But there's several pitchers in the Hall of Fame with very similar resumes, and I could see a case being made for Andy Pettit being in the Hall of Fame. Not a guy that I would necessarily vote for, even if you just took it as an era. So again, that's my Dirty Dozen for the steroid era, guys that I think were just above and beyond in that era, just made a statement and were great in that era. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down below. I'm sure you will. And it's okay to disagree with me. Totally okay to disagree with me. We'll talk to you soon. Keep collecting.